Let's read it again. Ephesians chapter 6. Verse, again, verses 10 down to the chapter 6. Okay. Susunod ba yan? Ephesians 6, 10 to 12. So, pasensya na po kayo, no? Medyo mabigat po ngayon, ano? It's a little bit heavy for us today. But I'm just looking at this as an opportunity for us to talk about this, no? So, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Yes. Happy anniversary. Ephesians 6, verse 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Concerning the rest, brothers, be strengthened in the Lord by the power of his virtue. Be clothed in the armor of God, so that you may be able to stand against the treachery of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the directors of the world of darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in high places.
Okay. Can you look at the person again beside you? Can you just say to that person, your struggle is not against flesh and blood. Can you just Okay. So what we're really saying is sometimes we forget that there are forces also that is causing friction, passions, you know. So sometimes when we want to be okay, he plants in evil in our hearts, like anger, resentment. Um, it starts with disappointment, and before you know it, it becomes bigger and bigger. And before you know it, it eats us up, and it starts to become rage, wrath. Before you know it, you know, it controls us. It blurs our decisions. We have become reactional. We no longer are concerned about the consequences of our actions. And before you know it, all evil is released amongst the people that we love, or in pursuits that we have dreamt of for the longest time, or in something that we have won and suddenly has been destroyed overnight. Just like that. Are we following this? That's why it says this, put on the full armor of God. Then it says this in verse 13. Put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able, now watch this, stand your ground. After you have done everything, stand. And then he says it again, stand firm. He keeps on saying, stand. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget where the power is coming from. Don't forget the promises so that you don't get worried. Don't forget that there is God who loves you so you don't take your own life in your hands so that you can keep it surrendered to God. Stand. It's really saying, don't, Ephesians 1, 2, 3, this is who you are and what you have in God, the promises and so on. Live it, Ephesians 4 and 5. In Ephesians 6, remember, there's an enemy that will want to snatch it away from you. Are we following it? Yes. Let's look at a few examples. Turn your Bibles for a moment to Ephesians 4. Nasa Ephesians na tayo, let's look at Ephesians. Like for example, look at this. Verse 25, 26. Dito tayo kay Marian. Marian, ito. Ephesians 4:26. 36.
26. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry.
27.
And do not give the devil a foothold.
Pakita nyo? Diba? Can you see it? So again, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down. Meaning to say, before night comes, you should have already resolved whatever is there inside you with your spouse, para hindi kayo natutulog na back to back, with a face to face, or with your children or what. Resolve it immediately. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. Verse 27. Don't give the devil a chance, a foothold, where he's able to enter and establish himself inside. Are we following it? So, don't give him an opportunity. There's actually that. Now, Peter, to resist him. Be on the alert. Has been a victim of Satan in the past. Before he wrote First Peter, he became a victim twice. Are you following this? One is, for example, in Matthew chapter 16. Turn your Bibles there. Matthew 16. Pwede ba akong tumawag sa inyo, Milet? Diyan muna sa inyo. Matthew 16. Lakasan mo, ha? Yeah. Matthew 16 first. So I'll give you a background first, no? In Matthew chapter 16, they were in Caesarea Philippi. While they were there, Jesus asked that question. He asked the disciples the question, who do you say am I? Some of them were saying, oh, you are, some say you are John the Baptist risen from the dead. Some say you are Elijah. And said, no, 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 you. Who do you say am I? And Peter suddenly said, you are the Christ. You are the Messiah, the anointed one, the much awaited promised. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus says to him, blessed are you, Simon, son of Barjona. He said, for flesh and blood did not reveal this to you. My Father revealed that to them. Now, watch what happens after that. Matthew chapter 16, verse 21. So, can you read 21 down to 23? Yeah.
Matthew 16, verses 21 to 23.
Yes.
Jesus predicts his death. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed, and on the third day they be raised to life. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Never, Lord, he said, this shall never happen to you. Jesus turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns.
Okay. So, just stop there. So, the devil is just one. So, don't worry, he will not be beside you. Okay. The devil was close to Peter because Jesus and Peter were close to each other, and that was a different time. No? So the devil was really close to them. So you could see there was a drawing of swords over and over again between Peter and Peter, the disciples against Satan and Satan against them. Now here we get to see Jesus started to talk about the fact that he will be arrested, that he will be put to death, that he will be crucified. See, Peter takes him aside, rebukes him. For a person to do that, there must be something happening to his mind. He must be thinking, I just heard from God. You yourself said, when I said, you are the Christ, the Son of the, blessed are you, Peter. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. As we've said, Peter has said a while ago, be careful of pride. Pride is the door that opens us. When we place ourselves above God, when we start to think independent of God. And so, he says, Peter rebuked him and said, that cannot happen, Lord. And look at it. It was with all full concern for Jesus. He had the cleanest and most beautiful intentions. But Lord looked at him and said, you are a stumbling block. You're actually keeping me from dying on the cross, which is my very intention. Kaya demonyo, diablo, karap hindi lang demonyo. Sa nakarinig ako, na, yung tatay mo, talagang demonyo yan. Diablo talaga yan. Nakakarinig ka, but I think, this is not, these are not just demons. This is Satan himself, really trying to disrupt the intentions and plans of God. So he now starts to move in the mind of Peter. and starts to protect Jesus with the intention of using that protection to degrade Jesus from the real plan and purpose of God. Sabi ng Lord sa kanya, you have your concerns on the things of man, not on the things of God. So, eto na yung thy kingdom come. Yung bang to always say, Lord, I just surrender myself to you. I just allow you to start moving in my life so that I will not be used in any way at all. Are you following it? No? The next time was here, actually. Grabe, no? Look, tingnan niyo yung Luke. You look at Luke, ano doon na naman si Peter? Luke 22.